I remember that evening like a scar you can't scrub clean, faint on the surface, but it burns underneath. Claire sat across from me at the dinner table, her fork untouched, the faint sound of the ticking clock louder than any word she could have said. We'd been married for 9 years, but that night silence felt older than us both. She'd been distant for months, fewer smiles, fewer touches, and when I tried to bridge the space, she'd shrink back like my affection was a burden she didn't want to carry anymore. I told myself she was tired, that work was breaking her down. But truth has a way of waiting, patient, cruel, and inevitable. When she finally spoke, it was almost a whisper. "Ethan, I don't think I love you anymore." No shouting. No tears, just 5 words that cleaved my world in half. The air thickened. My first instinct was to argue, to ask what I'd done wrong, to pull her back with logic or love. But instead I stared at her, really stared. Her eyes didn't flinch. There was relief in her tone, like she'd been carrying a stone she could finally drop. I set down my fork carefully. "How long?" I asked. She looked down, tracing patterns on her napkin. "A while. Maybe a year, maybe more. I didn't know how to tell you." I nodded slowly, not because I accepted it, but because I wanted to understand the shape of the truth before I touched it. The dinner grew colder by the minute, and so did the space between us. Inside, I was unraveling, not with rage, but with the quiet realization that love can die without noise. I thought of all the mornings I'd made her coffee, the times I'd kissed her shoulder before leaving for work, the nights I'd stayed up to talk when she was sad. All of it suddenly felt like letters sent to an address that no longer existed. She sighed almost impatiently. "Ethan, say something, please. You're just sitting there." I could have said I was heartbroken. I could have begged. But instead, something inside me went still, like the storm had passed and only calm remained. I leaned back in my chair. "Thank you," I said quietly. Her eyebrows pinched. "For what?" "For telling me the truth," I replied. "Because now I finally know what I've been loving all this time. A memory, not a person." Her lips parted, but no words came out. The clock ticked on, filling the gaps her silence left behind. I stood, took my plate, and rinsed it under the tap like it was any ordinary night. She watched me, eyes flickering between guilt and confusion. I could almost see her wanting me to explode, to fight, to do something that would prove I still cared, but I didn't. Because love isn't proven by chaos. Sometimes it's proven by the way you refuse to chase someone who's already walking away. Later that night, I slept on my side of the bed. She lay awake, scrolling through her phone, pretending she wasn't shaking. I didn't ask who she was texting. I didn't want to know. In the morning, I made coffee like usual and 1 cup instead of 2. I didn't say good morning, didn't ask how she slept. The silence between us wasn't empty anymore. It was mine now. 3 days passed before she spoke again. "Are you really not going to talk about it?" she asked, voice breaking. I looked up from my laptop. "What's left to talk about, Claire? You said you don't love me. I heard you, and I believed you." For the first time, she looked scared, like she'd built a fire she didn't actually want to burn in. Claire stood there, arms folded, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. "You're just calm, like it doesn't matter to you." I closed my laptop slowly, set it aside, and looked her in the eyes. "You said you didn't love me, Claire. I'm just giving you what that truth looks like." She swallowed hard. "So that's it? You're just done?" I almost smiled. Not from joy, but from the strange peace that comes when pain finally stops fighting. "No," I said quietly. "I was done the moment you stopped seeing me. I just hadn't realized it yet." For the next week, I didn't argue, accuse, or question. I existed. I went to work, I cooked, I slept. And in that routine silence, something shifted. Not between us, but inside her. She began lingering around me again, asking small, nervous questions. "Do you want me to pick up groceries? Or should I wash your shirt?" The tone wasn't care. It was confusion. Because the version of me who'd always tried, begged, and fixed was gone. I remember coming home one evening to find her waiting at the kitchen counter. Her eyes were red. "I miss how we used to talk," she whispered. I hung my coat, set down my keys. "Then why did you stop talking, Claire?" Her lip quivered. "I don't know. I thought I needed more. I thought something was missing. And now?" I asked. She hesitated. "Now I just feel empty." It hit me. She didn't expect my silence to be this heavy. She thought I'd chase, argue, plead. But my quiet had become a mirror, and in it, she saw the weight of her own choices. That night she tried to touch my arm. It was instinctive, desperate. I didn't pull away, but I didn't lean in either. "Ethan," she whispered, "do you hate me?" I looked at her. At the woman who once laughed in my kitchen, who once said I was her home. "No," I said softly. "You can't hate someone you already let go of." Her face fell. She turned away, but I caught a glimpse of tears she didn't want me to see. For the first time, she was the one trying to hold on. Over the next few days, her efforts grew louder. She made breakfast again, left small notes on the fridge. One morning, she wore the same dress she'd worn on our 3rd anniversary, the one I'd told her made her look like sunlight. But the light between us had shifted. On Friday night, she said she wanted to talk. I nodded, sitting across from her like we did that night of the confession. She took a deep breath. "I was wrong," she said. "I thought love faded because you stopped being exciting. But the truth is I stopped being grateful." Her voice cracked. "You never stopped trying. You just stopped when I told you I didn't love you. And that's when I realized maybe you were the only one who ever really did." I listened quietly, not out of cruelty but clarity. I'd waited years for her to see me, and now that she did, I didn't need it anymore. "I'm not angry, Claire," I said finally. "But you can't unsay what you said. You can't unmean it either." She reached across the table. "Can't we start over?" I shook my head slowly. "You ended something you didn't understand. And in doing that, you gave me something I didn't know I needed. Peace." Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "So this is really it?" I stood, leaned in gently, and kissed her forehead. "This is me loving you quietly one last time." Then I walked out, leaving behind the weight of every unanswered question, every forced smile, every late-night ache that begged for her attention. And in that silence, and the same silence she once feared, the mood changed forever. Because it was no longer filled with her absence. It was filled with my freedom,